What's up, millionaires? Mitch Durfee back again with another video. Now, I am very excited about this video because in this video, I really just want to take a second and flex on you guys and show you my 5 Amex Business Platinum cards. That's the only reason I'm creating this video, because I want to show you how awesome it is to have all these business credit cards. No, I'm just kidding. Actually, at the end of this video, I will tell you exactly why I have 5 Amex Business Platinum cards. But there is one reason in particular for me having these cards over any other card. And the reason for that is the Amex Business Platinum card doesn't actually report on my personal credit. And that's what this video is actually about. Fixing your credit score and making sure that you can have a perfect credit score if you follow the steps in this video. Now, there are only really 5 things that report on your credit score, and I'm going to go through each one of those one by one so that way you have a good idea of what impacts your credit score. Myself, I've actually wrote a book called 101 Credit Repair Secrets because I've been in real estate for a long time now, and credit is one of the things that stops a lot of people from buying houses, and I wanted to be able to answer that problem for any person out there that wants to get started investing in real estate. I got started building my credit when I turned 18 and I got my first credit card. Now, I don't know where you are at in your credit journey, but if you're 18 or older, then you absolutely should have a credit card. One of the biggest myths I've ever been told is that cash is king and don't use credit cards. Well, here's the thing. If you're only using cash and you're investing in real estate like I do, well, you're really missing out on a lot of benefits when it comes to financing these properties. So I'm going to give you 5 different things that impact your credit score. And at the end of this, I'm going to give you 7 of my best tips from that 101 Credit Repair Secrets. But before we get into all of that, you guys know how YouTube works. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already subscribed, and leave a comment in the section below. If you have questions about your credit, I will answer as many of those questions as possible, so just go ahead and leave those below. And with that said, let's go over the 5 things that are going to impact your credit score. All right, number 1, on-time payment history. Now, here's the thing about your credit score. If you have a credit card and you miss a payment, that's really going to impact your credit score. Now, what I see pretty frequently is someone that may have student loans or a credit card that they can't make the full balance payment, so they just forget it and they say, I'm not going to even make that payment. Well, if you have a credit card and you have a balance on there, it's very likely that you have a minimum balance payment. If you can make that minimum balance payment, that's going to actually help you when it comes to your credit score. But if you miss a payment entirely, that's really going to impact your credit score. So make sure that if you have a credit card, you are making an on-time payment at the very least. I highly encourage you though to pay off that balance every single month, because there's no reason that you should be paying this high interest rates for these credit cards. Number 2, credit utilization. Well, credit utilization basically is just having access to a lot of available credit and having a low balance on those credit cards. So for example, if you have a credit card with $10,000 available credit and you have used $10,000 of that credit, that's going to impact your credit score negatively. But if you have a $10,000 credit line on one credit card and you only are using $500 on that credit card, that's going to make your credit score go up. The other secret to having an increased credit utilization is to have more credit lines. For example, if you have 21 credit lines and each one of these credit cards has a $5,000 or $10,000 available balance, and you're only spending $1,000 to $3,000 a month, it looks like your credit utilization is a lot better because you have available credit and you are not maxing out these cards. All right, number 3, length of credit card history. Now, the reason this is important is because when you have a credit card for a long period of time, that actually shows companies that are extending lines of credit to you that you have a length of on-time payment history. So if you've had a credit card for 10 years, it shows that you've made on-time payments for those 10 years. This is also the other reason why you want to have multiple credit cards. If you have 3 credit cards that you've had for 10 years, it actually looks like you've had 3 times the number of on-time payments. So having a high number of credit cards and a long length of credit card history, it shows that you're very reliable when it comes to paying on time and also for a long time. So if you're going to be buying a house in the future and you're going to banks and you're trying to get pre-approved for buying or financing a home, this will show lenders that you have the history of on-time payments, which is a huge factor when it comes to your credit card history. Now, in fact, my first credit card that I had when I joined the Army, when I turned 18, that card actually got shut down because I wasn't using that credit card. So if you have credit cards out there, I highly recommend that you make at least one purchase on those things every few months to keep those credit cards open. The reason they shut it down is because I ended up just not using that credit card because it actually didn't have any cashback rewards. Although it was a nice security blanket for me to have that credit card and that line of credit, I never really used it because all the other credit cards I have credit card cashback rewards. But again, the most important thing when it comes to credit history is if you open up a credit card and there's no annual fees on that credit card, there's no reason for you to close it down. Again, having a high number of credit cards is going to help you with your credit utilization and also your on-time payments. All right, number 4. Number of credit lines. This is important because banks want to see that you're responsible with paying not only your credit cards, but also any other line of credit that you also have, whether that's a personal loan, an automobile, or even a mortgage. The reason they want to see a good mix of all these different credit lines, when you have a high number of credit lines, it also shows that you have a number of on-time payments. A higher number of credit cards means you have a higher number of on-time payments. Does this make sense? All right, so the only challenge that you're gonna have with a high number of lines of credit is actually what the next thing is that impacts your credit score, and that is number of inquiries. Number 5, number of credit inquiries. Now, this is something that actually impacts my credit score, and although there are ways for you to actually dispute these hard inquiries that go onto your account, honestly, the best thing you can do is just wait. This is why I only suggest that you actually open up a new credit line every 2 to 3 months, because you can only have 12 hard inquiries on your credit report in 12 months before it starts to negatively impact your credit score. Now, these hard inquiries will actually fall off your records after 24 months, but the more credit inquiries you do in that 12-month period, it'll actually negatively impact your credit score by about 5 to 10 points. There are ways around this. If you're applying for a home mortgage, you should apply for a home mortgage and you can rate shop this, but make sure you do it in a short period of time, right? So don't look for a loan or a lender month 1 and then go back to another lender month 2. The reason this impacts me is because I buy a lot of real estate. While I'm opening up businesses, I have the same problem too. If I open up a new business, just like with these Amex business cards, every time I open up an Amex business card, they pull my credit history to make sure that I have on-time payments and that I am a good qualified person that they can extend a line of credit to. If I went to Amex and I opened up 5 businesses in 1 month, they're not going to like that because they are only extending that credit line at that period of time. And I've actually had that challenge too, where I was applying for mortgages and refinancing properties, and at the same time, I was applying to open up new businesses, and I was not able to get approved for any more credit cards because I had too many hard inquiries. I had to wait 3 months before they noticed that my account was in good standing. I wasn't applying for credit cards as frequently as I was, and they extended more lines of credit. So if you're opening up lots of lines of credit, I encourage you to wait a couple months in between opening up new credit cards, but at the same time, these inquiries will fall off your record over time. Okay, that's it for the 5 things that are going to impact your credit score. You have to keep in mind these 5 things. Number 1, on-time payment history. Number 2, credit utilization. Number 3, length of credit history. Number 4, number of credit lines. And number 5, number of hard inquiries on your credit score in the last 24 months. Now, all of these things are the things that are going to impact your credit score. But what I want to do now is I want to actually give you 7 of my best tips. Okay, so these are the 7 bonus tips that I want to give you for watching this video. If you found value so far, make sure to hit that like button, drop a comment in the section below, and subscribe if you haven't already subscribed. Credit is something that will save you thousands and thousands of dollars in your lifetime. In fact, this video, if you follow all these steps and you are able to increase your credit score, you're going to save thousands of dollars on your next home mortgage. You'll save thousands of dollars on your next automobile by dropping your interest rates. You're going to get thousands of dollars by opening up new credit cards. So here are the 7 best tips that I can give you that I wish I knew earlier. Number 1, get credit as early as possible. We talked about this in the 5 steps before. The earlier that you have credit, the longer the length of credit history. So if you don't have a credit card right now, or you have no credit card history, well, there are secured credit cards out there that you can open up that you can just put $200 to $500 down and just get your first credit card opened up. I highly encourage you to do this because the sooner that you do this, the sooner you're going to be able to show a longer length of credit history, which is important when it comes to applying for more loans. Number 2, don't miss any payments. Again, this is very important when it comes to credit cards and your credit score. If you have student loans and you're not paying off these student loans, you are not going to be able to get credit. Even if you only can make that minimum payment to pay your credit card, just do it, because at the end of the day, if you miss a payment, that's going to look really bad to any other lender when it comes to automobiles or your home loans or even opening up new credit lines in the future. So if you can't pay your credit card off monthly and entirely, just make sure you pay at least the minimum balance. Okay, number 3. Now this one is actually really important and some of you are probably going to laugh. If you have credit card debt currently, do not finance a latte. And what I mean by that is if you are not paying off your credit card and you have a high interest credit card and you're paying 20% interest on that credit card currently, do not go out and buy a $6 coffee. I cannot imagine paying 20% interest on a coffee that you can make at home. Now, on the other side of things, there are other options. You could open up a credit card that has 12 months or 14 months interest free if you really need that coffee and you really want to put it on a credit card. Open up a credit card that is interest free, but do not put a coffee on a credit card that currently has debt. Okay, number 4, annual fees. If you're just getting started with credit, I highly encourage you to actually look for credit cards that have no annual fees, especially if you're planning on opening up a credit card and holding it for a long time. Each of these Amex Business Platinum cards has a $595 annual fee, but the reason I can justify that is because there is a lot of perks and benefits that go along with these cards, and the one major benefit for me having this card is that an Amex Business Platinum card is more of a charge card, and basically what that means is I have to pay this card off every month. The reason I want to pay these charge cards off every month is because that if I do that, it does not show up on my personal credit. And the other thing about these Amex Business Platinum cards is the rewards that come along with it. Each one of these cards and each one of these accounts, I'm spending a couple $100,000 a month and charging that to these cards for my e-commerce businesses. So if I was to do that on my own personal credit, it would show that I have a very high utilization rate. If I put $100,000 on my personal credit for these several businesses, it's going to look like I'm spending a lot of money and I have to pay those things off monthly. That's why I choose the Amex Business Platinum charge cards to protect my personal credit. If you're just getting started with credit, I highly encourage you to look for credit cards that don't have annual fees. That way you can open up the credit card and you can get that length of history without having to pay that annual fee or being forced to close down that credit card in the future if you aren't using the perks of that credit card. But if you do not have a business and you're just looking for a credit card for yourself, then do not pay an annual fee unless you can justify the rewards to make sure it's worth it. I highly encourage you to look into other cashback reward cards that do not have an annual fee. Which brings us into the next tip, credit card rewards. Over the years, I have used a dozen different credit cards and every credit card has different perks. Some have cashback rewards. Some have travel bonuses. Some have interest free for 12 to 14 months, and some of them combine a few of these things. There are credit cards out there, once you have an excellent credit score, that'll pay you anywhere between $200 and $500 just for using their credit card. In fact, if you open up a Chase Freedom card right now, they will pay you $200 after using this credit card for the first 3 months. So I highly encourage you to look for credit cards that have reward programs that you can use. If you're just starting off with credit and you have no credit history and you have to open up a secured credit card, it's highly unlikely that you're going to receive any of these benefits, but that's more reason for you to get started getting your credit score fixed right now with a secured credit card, so that way you can get a credit card with cashback rewards and sign-on bonuses. Okay, tip number 6, do not close out your credit cards. In fact, I've seen people online where they said, I recently shut down all my credit cards. I finally paid off all my credit cards and then I closed them down. I wish I could just make sure that these people understood that when you close down that credit card that you just paid off, 1, you just zapped your credit utilization. 2, you closed out your credit history and on-time payments for this credit card. So don't close out these credit cards unless they have an annual fee that just doesn't make sense. But if you have a credit card that you've paid off, it's better for you to actually just cut that thing up and throw it away instead of using that credit card if you're worried about getting into credit card debt again. But don't close it down because that will impact your credit score. Number 7, open up new accounts frequently. There's this giant misconception out there that if you open up too many credit cards, you're going to have a really bad credit score. Well, the truth is, by opening up these credit cards, you're able to cash in on new account sign-up bonuses. There's companies like Chase and Amex that'll pay you $200 to $500 every single time you open up a new account with these companies. So the pros and cons actually outweigh the negative impact of having a hard inquiry on your account. And really, at the end of the day, if there's no annual fees on these credit cards, it's really worth it for you to open up this credit card. The more lines of credit and available credit that you have, it's going to actually improve your credit score. And for this reason, I encourage people to open up new credit cards every 2 to 3 months in order to cash in on those new sign-up bonuses. In closing, I just want to go over a few last-minute things to make sure you guys understand what you should be doing with your credit. Listen, maybe you messed up your credit in the past, or maybe you have no credit history. But if that's true, go ahead and look into opening up a secured credit card, because in just a few short months, you're going to be able to actually open up a credit card with cashback rewards. I also want to make sure that you don't open up credit cards that have annual fees until you are able to weigh the benefits of having the annual fees and the perks that these credit cards have. So the sweet spot to be in is a credit card that has a nice cashback reward and a sign-on bonus. So if you have troubles or questions about your credit, I do have that book, 101 Credit Repair Secrets, where if you've had problems in the past, you can start immediately. This book does come with a workbook that you can actually follow the step-by-step process in order to improve your credit. If you have questions about your credit, there are sites like creditkarma.com that'll actually monitor your credit, where you can log in there and you can check your credit score and you can see some of these inquiries or late payment histories or anything that may be coming up on your credit report in the past. By using Credit Karma, it'll also suggest credit cards that you're very likely to be approved for. Again, keep an eye open for credit cards that have annual fees and stay away from them. I hope you found a lot of value in this video, and if you did, please make sure to like and subscribe to this channel, because I'm always here to help you with your personal finances, and especially when it comes to real estate and business. So thanks again for watching, and I hope to see you guys in the next video.
You who pursue excellence at such an enormous level and actually attain it. Mitch Durfee, CEO, best-selling author, keynote speaker, business coach, realtor, and veteran, has built an empire of business and now coaches, provides mentorship, and the advice you need to ensure success in your life. Founder of Grunts Move Junk, Green Rock Investments, and online startup Box, Mitch Durfee has constructed and created a lasting empire with lasting impact and devotion to your success. A believer in education, wealth creation, and knowledge development, Mitch Durfee is the mentor you need and the mentor you want on your team. Learn more at mitchdurfee.com. That's mitchdurfee.com.